Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and can I add my own welcome to the All Energy Conference. I wish I could be there with you in person, as energy has been a passion for me throughout my career, first as an energy economist, then as an MP, and now as First Minister of Scotland. So I would have loved to be at what I know is the largest event in these islands devoted to all forms of clean and renewable energy. And this year I know it's bigger and better than ever. And where better to hold it in Aberdeen, one of the great energy capitals of the world. Now, I've got a reasonable excuse because I've got an engagement later today which I think is unmissable, because I'm nominated, hopefully, by the Scottish Parliament to Her Majesty the Queen for appointment as First Minister of Scotland up until 2016. So it's one of these appointments which it's best not to miss. Anyway, it's a reasonable excuse for not being with you in Aberdeen. Now, I'm pleased by how the Scottish Parliament election turned out, but I think the renewable energy sector can also take some satisfaction from the decisive result, which will provide a government for the next 5 years, which has already demonstrated its commitment, its total commitment to renewable and green energy, and will demonstrate that over our next period of office. Our policy is clear. We have a unique natural endowment of an estimated quarter of Europe's offshore wind and tidal energy, a tenth of its wave energy potential. We intend to develop that extraordinary resource and develop in terms of its full potential. So, for example, the 6 sites identified in our plan for offshore wind energy, which together with the 2 Round 3 sites within Scottish waters, they have the potential in themselves to generate around 10 gigawatts of electricity by 2020. That potential is still there. But now we move on to examine the further 25 offshore sites identified for exploration in the short and medium term. And to help you to keep abreast of all of this activity, I'm delighted to announce that the launch today of Scotland's offshore wind portal. The Scottish Government, Scottish Enterprise, Highlands and Islands Enterprise have developed the offshorewindscotland.org.uk, a single site showcasing what Scotland has to offer to both Indigenous industry and indeed to the new investors in this rapidly emerging sector. And the 42 renewable projects that we've consented as a government over the last 4 years, more than double the previous total, they're still there, and you can expect far, far more to come. Now, of course, as well as being at the cusp of a major renewables revolution offshore, we still have vast reserves of North Sea oil and gas. I work closely with the sector through the Energy Advisory Board and its Oil and Gas Advisory Group, and we have set firm goals to maintain and develop Aberdeen's leading position in the world oil and gas industry, especially the subsea industry. So obviously, I, like so many others, have been greatly concerned at the coalition government in London's decision to increase its tax take from oil and gas projects. That's dented business confidence in the sector. This is a matter that I hope to pursue with the Chancellor of the Exchequer in person next week, where I'll offer him some really constructive suggestions on how to repair some of the damage to confidence. And I'll do that after I finish kicking down his door. However, the potential, and this is important, for the generation of resources from oil and gas reserves remains strong. And so does our capacity to store carbon emissions offshore, the largest in Europe, greater than for the Netherlands, Germany and Denmark combined. That is the potential that Scotland has in carbon capture technology. What is developing is our nearness to exploiting that immense potential in carbon capture. Only last week, no fewer than 3 Scottish CCS demonstration projects were submitted to the European Union's New Entrants Reserve, demonstrating again in this technology the high level of ambition in Scotland. And research published just today by Scottish Enterprise shows that these demonstrators could add £3,000 million in gross value added in Scotland, generating 5,000 new jobs through the combined construction and operation processes. Now, as well as the generation and carbon storage capacity that's been bestowed upon us by the creator of the universe, we have an excellent base in science and engineering to ensure that we exploit the immense potential of CCS. It is essential that the United Kingdom's electricity market reform provides a firm basis for CCS investment stretching into the future. Our research and development base is growing exponentially. So, for example, the European Marine Energy Centre, or EMEC in Orkney, is the first testing facility to be grid connected and will be near full capacity in the coming months. Indeed, I am delighted that at this conference later today, EMEC will sign a strategic agreement with the tidal test facility at Fundy in Nova Scotia. That pooling of resources and skills between Scotia Old and Scotia New should move this exciting sector even further forward as we approach the stage where large arrays become a reality. A technical report published just yesterday showed that such arrays could deliver £6,000 million of investment to establish the world's only commercially leased wave and tidal projects in the Pentland Firth and Orkney waters. You know, in life and in energy, some things are constant and some things are changing. Some things change for good reasons. I mean, what's constant is the amazing potential of these natural renewable resources. Things that are changing, like our research and development capacity that's developing all the time. And some things change as a matter of policy. Previously, we had a commitment to 20,000 modern apprenticeships, many of them in the green economy. Now we're changing that because the economy, and above all the green economy, is recovering. For example, in the last 6 months, with the major investment decisions by leading global energy companies like Mitsubishi, Gamesa, Doosan Power Systems. So against that background, we've raised our modern apprenticeship target to 25,000 this year and for the 5 years to come. And there's another thing that's changing, and again for good reason. We inherited as a government a commitment to generate 40% of Scotland's electricity demand from renewables by 2020. We increased that because of the pace of development to 80%. But recently the pace and potential of development has been such, with our 2011 target already exceeded, that now we can commit to generating the equivalent of 100% of Scotland's own electricity demand from renewable resources by 2020. By then, we intend to be generating twice as much electricity as Scotland needs. Just over half of it will come from renewables and just under half from other conventional sources. We'll be exporting as much electricity as we consume. So I hope that my remarks have shown just how committed this new Scottish Government will be to green energy. We will work with industry and government at local, UK and European level to build on what we've achieved. We will now move still further and faster to secure our place as the green energy powerhouse of the continent of Europe. And as I leave you now to gather my thoughts for that speech later today, setting out my key intentions as First Minister, if the Scottish Parliament elects me, I can absolutely assure you that the commitment to renewable energy that I've just given will be at the very forefront of the new Scottish Government's programme. Thank you, and best wishes for the rest of the conference.